First contact and invasion. The massive view screen in Earth Defense Coalition headquarters displayed the alien vessel in high orbit, a gleaming construct of unknown metals that reflected sunlight in patterns that confused Earth's sensors. Commander Ilara Chen studied it with narrowed eyes, her hand unconsciously touching the scar that ran from her temple to her jaw, a reminder of the Indonesian sea wars she'd survived a decade ago. 3 days, and they're still just sitting there, Lieutenant Raj Sharma said, his fingers moving rapidly across his console. Sensors show minimal power fluctuations, no weapons activity we can detect. Ilara nodded, her dark eyes never leaving the screen. And yet they've ignored half our communication protocols. Something's not right. The alien ship had appeared without warning, slipping past Earth's long-range detection network as if it hadn't existed. The Surax, as they called themselves, claimed to represent a vast interstellar confederation seeking peaceful contact with humanity. "Commander, they're hailing us again," Communications Officer Maya Wong announced, her voice perfectly controlled despite the tension filling the command center. "Put them through," Ilara ordered, straightening her uniform. The screen shifted to reveal Ambassador Korath, the Surax representative. His translucent blue skin rippled slightly as he moved, 4 golden eyes blinking in an unsettling rhythm. Behind him stood several other aliens, their expressions unreadable to human sensibilities. "Commander Chen," the translator converted the alien's melodic tones into flat English, "your continued hesitation offends. We bring opportunities for advancement beyond your primitive understanding. The Confederation offers membership to worthy species." Ilara maintained her diplomatic composure. "Ambassador Korath, we appreciate your patience. However, our detection grid has identified Surax vessels near our lunar colony and Mars settlements, vessels you claimed didn't exist." All 4 of Korath's eyes widened simultaneously. "Merely observer craft. Standard protocol when meeting new species. On Earth, unauthorized military reconnaissance is considered hostile action," Ilara replied evenly. The alien's skin darkened slightly. "Your human concepts are irrelevant. The Surax determine the appropriate pace of integration for developing species. We'd prefer to set our own pace, Ambassador." "Your preference has been noted," Korath said coldly before terminating the transmission. Raj looked up at Ilara. "What do you think they really want?" Before she could answer, her secure communicator beeped. "General Santos wants to see me. Keep monitoring their ship and report any movement immediately." Ilara hurried through the underground corridors of EDC headquarters in Geneva. The facility had been constructed after humanity first detected definitive signals from space 15 years earlier. The massive investment had seemed excessive to many. Now it seemed prescient. General Isabella Santos waited in the Situation Room, her weathered face grim as she studied holographic displays. At 65, she commanded respect from everyone in Earth's unified defense forces. "Commander, assessment," she asked without preamble. "They're hiding something, General. Their technology is significantly beyond ours, but it's their attitude that concerns me most. They speak to us as if our acceptance of their terms is inevitable." Santos nodded. "My thoughts exactly. Intelligence suggests they've positioned vessels throughout our solar system, not just near Earth. The lunar colony reported unusual energy signatures yesterday. Mars Base Alpha has lost contact with 2 orbital platforms as well," Ilara added. "I've quietly ordered our forces to combat readiness," Santos said, "but the World Council remains divided. Several representatives believe we should embrace whatever the Surax are offering." Ilara frowned. "Those council members haven't been on the calls with Ambassador Korath. His diplomacy barely conceals his contempt." "The President agrees with your assessment," Santos began, but an alarm blared throughout the facility, cutting her off. Red lights flashed along the walls. "Command Center to General Santos," a voice called over the intercom. "Emergency transmission from Luna Base." "Put it through," Santos ordered. The wall screen activated to show Commander Daniels, the lunar colony leader. Static distorted his image, and the video kept freezing, detecting multiple vessels approaching the colony. They're not responding to hails. We've initiated emergency protocols, but his transmission cut briefly. Identified as Serac ships. They're taking positions around. The sound of an explosion came through before the video caught up. They've opened fire. Repeat, we are under attack. East Dome is breached. We have casualties and need immediate. Another explosion, louder this time. Alarms wailed in the background. Daniels reappeared, blood streaming down his face. This isn't a misunderstanding. It's an invasion. They're targeting life support systems first. The transmission ended abruptly. Silence filled the situation room for 3 heartbeats. "Get me the president," General Santos ordered, her voice steady despite the shock, "and connect me with all Earth Defense Forces. Authentication code Sierra, Echo Victor Echo November." Ilara recognized that code. It meant war. "Commander Chen, I'm activating Protocol Aegis. Return to Command Center and prepare for planetary defense." As Ilara rushed back to her post, emergency sirens began to sound throughout the facility. The invasion had begun far more quickly than anyone had expected. Back in Command Center, chaos reigned. Reports flooded in from space stations and outposts across the solar system. Multiple Serax vessels detected near Mars colonies. Space Station Harmony reports unidentified craft approaching. "We've lost contact with the Jupiter Research Outpost." Raj looked up as Ilara entered. "Commander, the Serax embassy ship is moving. They are leaving orbit." On the main screen, the massive alien vessel was indeed pulling away from Earth, but smaller ships, previously hidden, were now descending through the atmosphere. "Track those ships," Ilara ordered. "Alert all ground defense units. Prepare to engage." The first reports of attacks on Earth came minutes later. Beijing, New Delhi, London. Serax fighters targeted military installations first, then communication centers. As night fell across Asia, Ilara watched from the command bunker as humanity faced its first interstellar war. The Serax had clearly planned this attack for weeks, possibly months. They never intended peace. "They think we'll surrender quickly," Raj said quietly, watching the destruction unfold. "No," Ilara replied, her voice hardening as she watched Earth's defenses begin to mobilize. "They chose war with humans. Now they'll learn what warfare truly means." 3 months had passed since the Serax invasion began. What remained of Shanghai lay in ruins around Captain Madeline, but she paid little attention to the devastation as she led her squad through the rubble. Rain pattered softly on her combat armor, helping to mask their movements from alien sensors. "Hold position," she whispered into her comm. The blue dots representing her team members on her tactical display stopped moving immediately, spreading out behind fallen walls and twisted metal beams. A Serax patrol vessel hummed overhead, its blue scanning beams sweeping across the ruins. May remained perfectly still, the adaptive camouflage of her armor blending with the concrete debris. The massive ship eventually moved on, its engines leaving a lingering high-pitched whine that humans had learned to fear. "Clear," she announced after 60 seconds. "Proceed to Waypoint Echo." They moved swiftly through what had once been a financial district. The team carried an assortment of weapons, some human-made, others modified from captured Serax technology. The early days of the war had been devastating for Earth's forces, but humans were nothing if not adaptable. "Captain, I'm picking up energy signatures 2 blocks east," Lieutenant Huang reported. "Matches Serax power cells." May consulted her tactical display. "That's near the old subway entrance." "Perfect." She signaled the team to change direction. Their mission today was resource acquisition, or scavenging, as most soldiers called it. With global supply chains destroyed and factories targeted, resistance forces had to get creative. The signature led them to a small Serax outpost established in what had once been a high-end shopping mall. Two alien guards patrolled outside while a transport ship was being loaded with looted Earth technology. "Status report," Mai whispered. "6 targets outside. Unknown number inside," Wang replied. "Standard patrol configuration." Mai smiled grimly. Standard meant predictable. The Seracs excelled at technological warfare, but lacked tactical creativity. Their military operated on rigid protocols that rarely change, a weakness humans had quickly identified. "Deploy countermeasures, then execute pattern Sierra," she ordered. Wang activated a small device that began emitting signals matching the Serac's communication protocols. The alien guards immediately turned toward it, distracted by what they perceived as a malfunction in their network. Mi's team moved simultaneously, firing silenced weapons with practiced precision. The Seracs fell without raising alarms. The team then approached the transport, where Sergeant Chen deployed a compact electromagnetic pulse device specifically calibrated to Serac systems. When activated, it disabled the ship's security without triggering failsafes. The aliens inside never had time to report the attack. "Secure the area," Mai ordered as they entered the transport. "I want everything useful stripped and packed in 15 minutes." The ship contained exactly what they needed: power cells, medical supplies, and most importantly, communication modules. Dr. Marcus Okafor's team at the underground resistance base would be particularly interested in those. As her team efficiently dismantled and packed the alien technology, Mai received a transmission from Resistance Headquarters. "Phoenix Leader, this is Nest. Operation Thunderclap is green. Return to base immediately." Mi's heart rate quickened. Thunderclap, the operation they'd been preparing for months, was finally happening. "Copy that. Nest. We're on our way." 2 hours later, Mei's team reached the Resistance Headquarters hidden beneath the ruins of Shanghai University. The massive underground complex had been a scientific research facility before the war, its existence known to few. Now it housed what remained of Asia's coordinated resistance effort. Dr. Marcus Okafor greeted them as they entered the main laboratory. The Nigerian scientist had been visiting Shanghai for a conference when the invasion began. Now he led the Resistance's technological division. "Captain Lin, excellent timing," he said, his deep voice carrying across the room. "We're ready for the final briefing." Mai followed him into the command center where dozens of resistance leaders from across the globe were connected via secure channels. On the main screen, Commander Ilara Chen appeared. She had become the de facto leader of Earth's military resistance after Geneva headquarters was destroyed. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ilara began, her face showing the strain of 3 months of continuous warfare. "Tomorrow we launch Operation Thunderclap. This is not just another hit-and-run mission. This is our counteroffensive." The screen shifted to show technical schematics. Dr. Okafor's team has successfully reverse-engineered the Serac's communication network. For the first time, we can coordinate a global attack that they won't see coming. Marcus stepped forward. The Seracs rely heavily on automated systems and predictive algorithms. Their technology is impressive, but inherently vulnerable because it lacks human intuition. We've developed a method to inject false data into their tactical networks, essentially creating ghost targets that will divide their forces. Ilara continued. "Simultaneous strikes will hit 23 key Serac's command centers worldwide. Space-based assets we've secretly assembled will engage their orbital platforms. If we succeed, we'll cripple their command structure and create an opening for a broader counteroffensive." Mai studied the attack plans with growing optimism. For months, they had been fighting a defensive war, striking when possible but mainly focusing on survival. Thunderclap represented something new, a coordinated strategy that leveraged humanity's greatest strength against the aliens' greatest weakness. The Seracs came expecting an easy conquest, Ilara concluded. They thought their superior technology guaranteed victory. Tomorrow, we show them why that was their fatal mistake. They chose war with humanity. Now they'll witness true warfare. As the briefing ended, May approached Marcus. "Will it work?" she asked quietly. The scientist smiled. "Their technology is impressive, but they've never faced anything like humans before. We don't just adapt to survive. We evolve to win." Outside the resistance base, Serac ships continued to patrol the skies above Shanghai's ruins, unaware that beneath the rubble, humanity was preparing to strike back. Humanity's ingenious counterattack. Supreme Commander Vexar stood on the command deck of the Serac's flagship Inevitable Dominance, watching Earth rotate slowly on the main view screen. 6 standard cycles had passed since the invasion began. What should have been a simple conquest had instead become an increasingly frustrating campaign. "Status report," he demanded, 4 golden eyes narrowing as his subordinates hurried to comply. Sub-Commander Teller approached cautiously. "Resistance continues in all major sectors. Supreme Commander. Our forces in the region called Europe report increased guerrilla attacks on supply convoys. The human underground networks are proving difficult to eradicate." Vexar's translucent skin darkened with irritation. "Show me the engagement statistics." The view screen shifted to display a data summary. Initial Serac's victories had been overwhelming. Over 60% of Earth's conventional military forces had been neutralized in the first week. Yet somehow, 6 months later, Serac's control was actually decreasing in several regions. "These primitives continue to defy projections," Vexar said. "Their technology is inferior, yet they adapt at an alarming rate. How are they intercepting our secure transmissions? How are they modifying our weapons to use against us?" Teller hesitated before responding. "The human scientific facilities we captured contained records of their species' development. They have spent most of their history fighting each other, Supreme Commander. Their entire civilization evolved through constant warfare. And the High Command assured me they would surrender quickly," Vexar said bitterly. "Have the Behavioral Science Division prepare a new assessment. I want to understand these creatures better." As Teller moved to comply, alarms suddenly blared across the command deck. "Multiple anomalies detected in orbital defense grid," announced the tactical officer. "Unauthorized access detected in communication networks." Vexar spun toward the main view screen. "Source: unknown, Supreme Commander. The intrusions are coming from thousands of different access points simultaneously." Across Earth, as dawn broke over the Pacific Ocean, Operation Thunderclap began. In hidden bunkers, resistance fighters activated the specialized communication disruptors Dr. Okuffer's team had developed. The devices flooded Serac's networks with contradictory data, creating the illusion of attacks that weren't happening while masking the real offensives being launched. On the Inevitable Dominance, chaos erupted as systems began failing. "We're receiving emergency transmissions from all ground bases," reported a frantic communications officer. "They report human forces attacking in strength." "Impossible," Vexar snarled. "Their military capability was destroyed months ago. Orbital defenses are reporting multiple incoming projectiles," the tactical officer added. "But our sensors aren't detecting anything." Vexar hesitated, something no Serac's commander was ever trained to do. Were the attacks real, or was this some kind of massive system failure? The question was answered moments later when explosions rocked the flagship. Through the viewports, Vexar watched in disbelief as several Serac support vessels erupted in flames. "Where did that fire come from?" he demanded. "Unknown. Sensors detect nothing, but visual confirmation shows we're under attack." Aboard the Reclamation, a converted Serac's vessel now under human control, Commander Ilara Chen watched the battle unfold. Surrounding her, a crew of Earth's best space personnel operated alien technology with practiced efficiency. "Direct hit on their flagship's port stabilizers," reported Tactical Officer Raj Sharma, a grim smile on his face. "Our stealth systems are working perfectly. They still can't detect us on their instruments." The stealth technology had been Dr. Okuffer's masterstroke, a modification of the Serac's own cloaking systems, but improved upon with human ingenuity. The aliens relied almost exclusively on their advanced sensors, rarely trusting visual confirmation. It was a weakness born of overconfidence. "Launch the next salvo," Ilara ordered. "Target their communication arrays. Once they're isolated, deploy the boarding teams." Across Earth, similar scenes played out as hidden human forces struck at Seracs installations. In New York, resistance fighters led by Colonel Jackson deployed electromagnetic pulse weapons specifically calibrated to Seracs technology, rendering their superior weaponry useless before overwhelming them with conventional attacks. In Kenya, Dr. Amara Osei led a team that infiltrated a Seracs research facility, uploading a virus that turned the aliens' automated defense systems against them. In Shanghai, Captain Maidlin's forces used reverse-engineered Seracs weapons to devastating effect, reclaiming the university district in less than 3 hours. On the inevitable dominance, Supreme Commander Vexar struggled to comprehend what was happening. His species had conquered 17 worlds before Earth, none offering significant resistance once their military capabilities were neutralized. Yet these humans fought differently, not just with weapons, but with cunning and adaptability that bordered on the impossible. "Supreme Commander, we've lost contact with all ground forces in the regions designated North America and East Asia," Taylor reported, his voice shaking. "Orbital defenses are failing systematically. We're detecting human forces using our own technology against us." A massive explosion rocked the flagship, sending crew members sprawling across the deck. Emergency systems wailed as atmospheric pressure dropped in several sections. "The humans have boarded us," a security officer shouted. "Multiple breach points. They're using our own access codes." Vexar stared at the chaos erupting around him, a realization dawning that the Seracs High Command had made a catastrophic error in judgment. These humans weren't just another species to be conquered. They were something the Seracs had never encountered before. Throughout the ship, human boarding teams moved with practiced precision. Led by Commander Chen herself, they secured key systems and neutralized resistance with ruthless efficiency. The Seracs, accustomed to overwhelming technological superiority, found themselves outmaneuvered by human tactical adaptability. 2 hours later, Supreme Commander Vexar stood in his own command center, now controlled by humans. Before him, Commander Ilara Chen studied him with cold eyes. "Your forces are in retreat across Earth," she informed him calmly. "Your orbital defenses have been neutralized. Your communication network is under our control. This ship is now ours." Vexar struggled to maintain his composure. "How? Your species was primitive. Your technology was generations behind ours. You mistook technological development for warfare capability," Ilara replied. "Humanity has spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war against ourselves. You gave us new tools. We simply applied our expertise." She approached the alien commander, her voice dropping to a near whisper. "You should have studied our history more carefully before attacking us. Humans don't just fight wars. We master them. We adapt. We overcome. And we never, ever surrender." Vexar's skin paled to an almost white shade, the Seracs' equivalent of horror. "What happens now?" Ilara's expression remained impassive. "Now we take the fight to you. Your navigational databases have given us the location of every Seracs world. We initially wanted peace, but you chose war with humanity." Her eyes hardened. "Now you'll witness true warfare." 3 months after Operation Thunderclap, a fleet of ships, some human-designed, others converted Seracs vessels, assembled in Earth orbit. They represented humanity's first interstellar armada, prepared to extend the counteroffensive beyond the solar system. In what had once been the Seracs command center aboard the renamed Defiance, Ilara Chen addressed the assembled fleet commanders via holographic link. "The Seracs High Command has finally offered terms for ceasefire," she announced. "They've withdrawn all claims to Earth and our solar system. They've offered reparations and technological exchange." Murmurs of satisfaction spread through the command center. However, Ilara continued, "Intelligence suggests they're simply buying time to regroup. Dr. Okuffer's analysis of their communication patterns indicates they're already planning a renewed offensive with reinforcements from their core worlds. Marcus Okuffer stepped forward. The Seracs cannot comprehend defeat by what they consider an inferior species. Their cultural psychology won't allow it. They will return, unless we ensure they understand completely what it means to face humanity. Ilara nodded grimly. Which is why the World Council has authorized Operation Deterrence. We will proceed to the Seracs colony worlds closest to our system and demonstrate our military capability. We won't target civilians, but their military installations must be neutralized. Captain Madeline, now commanding her own ship in the fleet, spoke up. And if we encounter other species out there? Potential allies. Intelligence extracted from Seracs databases suggests there are many other civilizations under their control, Ilara replied. Species conquered as we nearly were. We'll offer them an alternative. As the briefing concluded, Ilara stood at the viewport watching Earth slowly rotate below. Humanity had survived its first interstellar war, but she knew it wouldn't be the last. The universe had just discovered a species unlike any other. One forged through millennia of conflict, endlessly adaptable, relentlessly innovative. The Seracs had awakened something in humanity, a realization that the stars weren't just a frontier for exploration, but potentially a battlefield where the lessons of Earth's blood-soaked history might finally serve a greater purpose. They chose war with humanity, she whispered to herself as the fleet prepared for departure. Now the galaxy will witness true warfare, or true peace. The choice is theirs. The Defiance led the fleet as they activated their faster-than-light drives, leaving Earth behind in a flash of light. Humanity's chapter as a galactic power had begun, not as conquerors, but as warriors no one would ever underestimate again.